Hello there, and welcome to Simple Science for Sleep. There are truths about your mind that will strip away every comfort you've built. Truths that reveal how little control you actually have, how flawed your memory is, how temporary everything feels. These facts are brutal in their honesty. They don't sugarcoat. They don't protect your feelings. But here's the strange part. Once you stop resisting them, once you let them sink in, something shifts. The weight lifts, the struggle ends, and somehow, in facing what's hard, you find what's peaceful. Tonight, we're drifting into something unusual. We're exploring psychology facts that live in a strange place, right between uncomfortable and comforting. These aren't the gentle truths that make you feel good. They're the ones that make you face reality, the ones that hurt a little at first. But here's what makes them special. After the sting fades, they leave something behind. Peace. Real peace. Not the kind you get from pretending everything is fine. The kind you get from seeing things as they actually are. This is your place for calm curiosity. A space where difficult truths become doorways to rest. Where honesty brings relief instead of anxiety. Where you can face what's real and feel lighter because of it. So, get comfortable. Adjust your pillow. Let your body sink into wherever you're resting. Take a breath. We're about to begin a different kind of journey. Before we go deeper, if these quiet journeys bring you calm, if you enjoy exploring the honest corners of the mind, consider liking this video and subscribing. You'll join others who find peace in truth, and leave a comment. Tell me where you're listening from and what time it is there. I love knowing you're out there, settling in for rest. Now, back to these brutal truths. Here's the thing about them. They often set us free. We spend so much energy pretending. Pretending we're in control. Pretending we remember everything correctly. Pretending we have it all figured out. That pretending is exhausting. It creates a gap between what we show the world and what we know deep down. These psychology facts close that gap. They say what you've secretly suspected, but were afraid to admit. And when someone finally speaks those suspicions out loud, when science confirms what you've quietly felt, something releases. It's like you've been holding your breath without realizing it, and suddenly you can exhale. The paradox is this. The truths that seem harshest are often the most freeing. The facts that strip away your illusions also strip away your burdens. What you lose in comfort, you gain in clarity. What you lose in pretense, you gain in peace. Tonight, we'll walk through 20 of these truths together. Some will feel like cold water. Others will feel like coming home. All of them will be honest, and all of them, in their own way, will help you rest. Because sometimes, the most relaxing thing you can do is stop fighting reality. Let's begin. Your brain is rewriting your past right now. Every memory you have, every moment you think you remember clearly, is being edited, changed, reshaped, not by choice, not on purpose, but automatically, constantly, without you noticing. Here's how it works. When you remember something, your brain doesn't pull up a video file. It doesn't play back what actually happened. Instead, it rebuilds the memory from pieces, like putting together a puzzle, except some pieces are missing. Some are from different puzzles entirely. and your brain fills in the gaps with whatever makes sense. Each time you remember, you're not accessing the original moment. You're accessing the last time you remembered it, which was already different from the time before that, which was different from the time before that. Your memories are copies of copies of copies. And with each copy, small details shift. That conversation you had 5 years ago, you remember it differently now than you did last year. That childhood birthday party, the version in your head today isn't the same as the version from 10 years ago. Your brain has been quietly editing, smoothing rough edges, emphasizing certain parts, downplaying others. This is the brutal truth. Your past isn't even real the way you think it is. The things you're certain happened might have happened differently. The words you're sure someone said might have been other words entirely. Your history is less like stone and more like clay, always being molded. It sounds unsettling, like you can't trust yourself, like your entire life story might be fiction. But here's where it gets peaceful. If your brain rewrites memories, it's doing so for a reason. It's protecting you, softening the sharp edges of painful moments, making sense of chaos, creating a story you can live with instead of one that breaks you. That embarrassing thing you said at 15, your brain has probably dulled its sting. That argument with someone you loved, the details have likely blurred, leaving you with the lesson instead of the full pain. Your mind is being kind in the only way it knows how. And here's the bigger piece. If memories can change, so can you. You're not stuck with the past exactly as it was. You're not imprisoned by what happened, because what happened is already different from what you remember, and what you remember will be different tomorrow. This means the painful memory that haunts you will fade, not because you forget it completely, but because your brain will reshape it into something you can carry. The weight will lessen, the details will soften, the sting will dull. You've probably experienced this already. Think about something that devastated you years ago. Think about how it feels now. Different, right? Smaller somehow, more distant. That's your brain doing its work, protecting you across time. So, yes, your memory is a liar, but it's a kind liar, one that's trying to help you survive, one that knows you can't carry the full weight of everything that's ever happened, one that edits your past so you can live in your present. You don't need perfect memory, you need manageable memory, and that's exactly what your brain gives you. The past is always changing, which means you're always changing too. And if everything is already in motion, already being rewritten, then nothing is permanent, not even pain. If nothing is permanent, not even pain, then what about embarrassment? What about all those moments you replay in your head, cringing at what you said or did? Here's the truth that will set you free. Nobody is thinking about you as much as you think they are. That awkward thing you said last week, the person you said it to has already forgotten. That stumble you took in public, the people who saw it moved on within seconds. That weird outfit choice, that nervous laugh, that comment that landed wrong, gone from everyone's mind but yours. This is called the spotlight effect. You feel like you're on stage, like everyone is watching, noticing, judging, like a spotlight follows you everywhere, highlighting every mistake and flaw. But here's what's actually happening. Everyone else is on their own stage, under their own spotlight, worrying about their own mistakes, replaying their own awkward moments. They're too busy thinking about themselves to think about you. This sounds harsh at first, like you don't matter, like you're invisible, like your existence barely registers. But let that sink in for a moment. If people aren't watching you that closely, if they're not keeping a mental file of your mistakes, then you're free. Free to mess up without an audience. Free to be imperfect without judgment. Free to try things and fail without it defining you. Think about someone you saw today, a stranger at the store, maybe, or someone in passing. Can you remember what they wore, how they walked, what their voice sounded like? Probably not. They were just there, and then they weren't. You moved on. That's how people see you too. You're part of the background of their day, not because you're unimportant, but because everyone is the main character of their own story. You're a supporting role in theirs, just like they're a supporting role in yours. So, when you wore those mismatched socks, no one cared. When you said something silly in that meeting, everyone forgot by lunch. When you tripped on the sidewalk, the person who saw it was already thinking about something else. Your embarrassing moments live only in your head. You're the only one still playing them on repeat. You're the only one who thinks they matter. And here's the deeper piece. If no one is watching that closely, what else are you worried about for no reason? That fear of judgment? Most of it is imagined. That anxiety about what people think? They're not thinking about you at all. That pressure to be perfect? You're the only one demanding it. You can let it go. All of it. The performance, the hyper-awareness, the constant self-monitoring. You can stop narrating your life like someone is taking notes. You can spill coffee on your shirt. You can say the wrong thing. You can have a bad hair day. You can be awkward and clumsy and imperfect. And the world will keep spinning. People will keep living their lives. And you'll realize that freedom tastes like this. Like not caring. Like knowing you're seen but not studied. Like understanding that everyone is too busy with their own spotlight to notice yours flickering. If people forget you quickly, here's something harder to accept. You'll forget yourself even faster. Most of your life will disappear from your memory. Not because something is wrong with you, not because those moments didn't matter, but because your brain can't keep everything. Let's do some simple math. You've lived thousands of days, eaten thousands of meals, had thousands of conversations. But right now, how many can you actually remember? How many Tuesday afternoons can you recall? How many ordinary breakfasts? How many small talks with co-workers? Most of them are gone, completely erased, like they never happened. Your brain keeps maybe 1% of what you experience. The rest gets deleted to make room for new information. Entire weeks blur into nothing. Whole months become a vague feeling. Years compress into a handful of memorable moments. You'll forget most conversations you have, most places you go, most things you do. Even important things will fade. Even meaningful things will become fuzzy around the edges. This is the brutal mathematics of being human. Your life is slipping away even as you live it. You're losing memories right now, this moment, and you don't even know which ones. It sounds sad, like life is pointless if we can't hold on to it. like we're losing something precious with every passing day. But here's where the peace comes in. Your brain is making choices. It's keeping what matters and letting go of what doesn't. It's a museum curator, not a hoarder. It doesn't need every random object. It only wants the meaningful pieces. That embarrassing thing you did 3 months ago? If it's not important enough to remember long term, why are you still carrying it? That awkward conversation, that minor mistake. If your brain is planning to delete it anyway, why not let it go now? Your brain knows something you don't. It knows that holding everything would crush you, that you need space, that you need to travel light through life. And the really important things, they stay. The moment you fell in love, the day someone you cared about died, the time you felt truly seen, the conversation that changed how you think. Those don't disappear. They get reinforced every time you remember them. So your brain is doing you a favor. It's sorting through everything and keeping the gold, letting the rest dissolve like sugar in water. This means you can stop obsessing over small regrets. If your brain won't, remember them in 5 years. Why hold them today? That thing you said wrong, that minor embarrassment, that tiny failure, your own mind doesn't think they're worth keeping. And there's something beautiful in this. Every morning, you wake up lighter than you think. Your brain has been working through the night, sorting and discarding, making room for today. You're not meant to carry your entire past. You're meant to carry the lessons, the love, the moments that shaped you. The rest can fade. The rest should fade. Your life is like a river, always moving, always leaving the past behind. You can't cup water in your hands and keep it forever. You can only feel it flow through your fingers. And maybe that's enough. Maybe the point isn't to remember everything. Maybe the point is to live fully, knowing most of it will disappear, knowing that's exactly how it should be. If most of your life fades away, what about the person living it? What about you? Here's something you might not want to hear. The you from 10 years ago is almost a stranger. Your personality changes, constantly, quietly, without you noticing it's happening. The things you valued back then, many of them don't matter to you now. The music you loved, some of it sounds different to your ears today. The fears that kept you up at night, half of them have dissolved. The dreams you chased, some of them embarrass you now. You are not consistent. You contradict past versions of yourself regularly. You change your mind about big things. You become someone you wouldn't have recognized years ago. And you do this without meaning to. It just happens. Time reshapes you the way water reshapes stone, slowly, steadily, until one day you look back and barely recognize who you were. This is brutal if you're clinging to a fixed sense of self. If you believe you're supposed to stay the same person forever. If you think changing your mind means you were wrong before. But here's the peaceful truth hidden inside this. You're allowed to grow. You're allowed to evolve. You're allowed to wake up one day and want completely different things than you wanted last year. Think about the music you hated as a teenager that you love now. Nobody judges you for that. Your taste developed. You changed. And that's normal. The same applies to everything else. Your politics can shift. Your relationships can transform. Your career path can pivot. Your beliefs can deepen or disappear entirely. None of this means you were fake before. It means you're alive, growing, responding to new information and experiences. People talk about finding themselves, like there's a true version buried inside, waiting to be uncovered. But that's not how it works. You're not a fixed thing hiding under layers. You're more like a garden, always growing, always changing with the seasons, always becoming something new. The you from 5 years ago made sense then. The you right now makes sense now. The you by 5 years from now will make sense then. All of these versions are real. None of them are permanent. And this is freeing. You don't have to defend old opinions just because you held them once. You don't have to keep liking something because you used to. You don't have to stay in a job or relationship or city just because past you chose it. You can change. You are changing. You will keep changing until the day you die. So, when you feel guilty about outgrowing something, remember this. When you worry that changing your mind makes you unreliable, remember this. When you fear that growing means losing yourself, remember this. You're not losing yourself. You're shedding old skins. And underneath is just more you. A newer version. A version that's learned things, felt things, survived things. Every person you've ever been is still part of you. But none of them are the whole story. The whole story is still being written. And you're the one holding the pen. This constant change means something deeper about who you really are. Something beyond personality and preferences. Something that stays even when everything else shifts. So, if you keep changing, if every version of you eventually becomes someone else, then what stays the same? What's the real you underneath all those shifts? Here's the uncomfortable answer. There isn't one. There's no authentic self hiding inside you, waiting to be discovered. No true version of yourself that you're trying to find. No core personality buried beneath the surface that once uncovered will finally make everything make sense. You're not a puzzle to solve. You're not a treasure to dig up. You're not a finished painting hidden under layers of paint. You're more like water, taking the shape of whatever container holds you, changing form based on temperature and pressure, always flowing, never fixed. This idea bothers people. We're told to find ourselves, to discover who we really are, to be authentic. And we spend years searching for this imaginary fixed point inside us. But the search itself is the problem. You're not lost. There's nothing to find. You're simply happening, right now, in this moment. And in the next moment, you'll happen slightly differently. Think about water in a glass. It takes the shape of the glass. Pour it into a bowl, and it becomes bowl-shaped. Freeze it, and it becomes solid. Heat it, and it becomes vapor. It's still water, but it adapts. It changes. It responds to its environment. That's you. You're different at work than at home. Different with your parents than with your friends. Different when you're tired than when you're rested. Different in the morning than at night. And none of these versions are fake. They're all you. Just you responding to different situations. Different containers. Different temperatures. The pressure to find your true self creates anxiety. Because you keep changing, you think you're failing. You think you haven't found it yet. You think you need to search harder, dig deeper, try more things. But what if you stopped searching? What if you accepted that you're not a thing to be found, but a process to be lived? Here's the peace in this. You're not failing at being yourself. You can't fail at something that doesn't exist. You're simply being, and being is enough. You don't need to figure yourself out. You don't need to commit to one version forever. You don't need to know who you are in some deep, permanent way. You can be different things, want different things, choose different paths. All of it is valid. All of it is you. The river doesn't worry about being a river. It just flows. It changes course when it meets obstacles. It speeds up and slows down. It's never the same river twice. And yet, we call it a river without confusion. You're like that, always moving, always changing, always responding to life as it comes. So maybe the question isn't who am I? Maybe the question is who am I becoming? And the answer changes every single day. This brings us somewhere interesting. If there's no fixed self, if you're always flowing and changing, then what actually shapes the person you're becoming right now? Because something is happening beneath your awareness. Something is deciding things before you even know a choice was made. Your unconscious mind is making decisions right now about what to focus on, what to feel, what to do next. And your conscious mind is catching up seconds later, thinking it was in charge the whole time. Scientists have measured this. They can predict which button you'll press before you consciously decide to press it. Your brain shows the decision happening, and then several seconds later, you become aware of choosing. Those seconds feel instant to you. It feels like you decided and then acted. But the order is reversed. Your brain decided. Then you became aware. Then you claimed the decision as your own. This is true for bigger choices too. That person you felt instant attraction to, your unconscious decided they were attractive before your conscious mind noticed. That job offer you felt wrong about, your gut knew before you could articulate why. That friend who made you uncomfortable, some part of you registered the warning signs before you consciously noticed them. Your unconscious is faster, smarter in some ways. It processes thousands of signals, while your conscious mind focuses on one thing at a time. So here's the brutal truth. Free will might be smaller than you think. You're not the captain of your ship as much as you believe. Something deeper is steering, something you can't fully access or control. This feels wrong, like you've lost something fundamental, like you're just a passenger watching decisions happen. But here's where the peace comes in. You can stop blaming yourself for every impulse, every automatic reaction, every moment you acted before thinking. That wasn't weakness. That was your unconscious doing its job with ancient wiring. You reached for the unhealthy food. You snapped at someone you love. You avoided the difficult conversation. You scrolled instead of working. Your unconscious made these choices based on patterns, habits, feelings you weren't aware of. And yes, you're still responsible. But you can hold that responsibility with more compassion now. You can see yourself as a human trying to navigate with an ancient brain in a modern world. Your brain evolved for survival, not happiness. For quick reactions to danger, not careful consideration of choices. It's doing its best with tools designed for a different life. So when you struggle with certain habits, when you repeat patterns you don't want, when you act in ways that confuse you, remember this. Something beneath your awareness is involved. And shaming yourself doesn't change the unconscious. Understanding it does. You can work with your unconscious instead of fighting it. You can create new patterns slowly. You can change environments that trigger old reactions. You can be patient with the part of you that's trying to protect you in outdated ways. The anger that flares up, it's trying to protect you. The anxiety that spirals, it's trying to keep you safe. The avoidance, it's trying to shield you from pain. These reactions made sense once. They're just outdated now. But if your unconscious decides most things, if your brain acts before you're aware, then what can you actually control? Turns out, there's one thing. Just one. But it's the only thing that matters. And it's where all your real power lives. The one thing you control is your response. Not what happens to you. Not what other people do. Not the thoughts that pop into your head or the feelings that wash over you. Just your response. The space between stimulus and reaction. That tiny gap where choice lives. Everything else is out of your hands. You can't control the traffic that makes you late. You can't control your coworker's mood. You can't control the weather, the economy, whether someone texts you back. You can't control if you get sick, if your plans fall through, if life throws something unexpected at you. You can't even fully control your own mind. Anxious thoughts appear without permission. Sad feelings arrive unannounced. Memories surface when you don't want them. Your brain does what it does, and you're along for the ride. This is the brutal limit of your power. You're not in charge of nearly as much as you think. Most people spend their energy trying to control things they can't. Trying to make people behave differently, trying to prevent bad things from happening, trying to orchestrate outcomes. And they suffer because control is an illusion. It was never real to begin with. But here's what you do have. That moment between what happens and what you do about it. That pause where you choose how to respond. Someone cuts you off in traffic. That's not in your control. But whether you rage or breathe, that's yours. Your boss criticizes your work, that's not in your control. But whether you spiral into shame or ask for clarification, that's yours. It feels small, like it's not enough, but it's actually everything. Because in that small space lives all your real power, your peace, your growth, your ability to break patterns and choose differently. Think about it. Two people experience the same difficult event. One responds with bitterness and becomes smaller. The other responds with reflection and becomes wiser. Same event, different response, different life. You can't stop the rain, but you can choose to dance in it or complain about it. You can't control losing your job, but you can control whether you see it as ending or beginning. You can't make someone love you, but you can control whether you love yourself anyway. This is where surrender and strength meet. You surrender control over everything external. You accept that life will do what it does. And in that acceptance, you find your actual power. The power to respond with intention instead of reaction. The traffic jam stops being torture when you stop trying to mentally will it away. The criticism stops crushing you when you stop needing everyone's approval. The uncertainty stops paralyzing you when you stop demanding to know how everything will turn out. Let go of controlling outcomes. Let go of managing other people. Let go of preventing every possible problem. It's exhausting and it doesn't work anyway. Instead, put your energy into the one place it matters. Your response. Your choice. Your small but mighty space of power. That space is freedom. Real freedom. Not the freedom to make life go your way. The freedom to be okay when it doesn't. And understanding this changes something fundamental about how you experience difficult emotions. Because if you can't control what you feel, maybe you've been approaching feelings all wrong. Your brain is designed to make you miserable. Not on purpose. Not because it hates you, but because keeping you alive meant focusing on threats. And threats are negative. This is called the negativity bias. Your brain gives more weight to bad experiences than good ones. One criticism sticks harder than 10 compliments. One failure haunts you longer than several successes. One scary news story affects you more than countless peaceful days. Your ancestors who focused on the positive didn't survive. The ones who heard a rustle in the bushes and thought it's probably nothing got eaten. The ones who assumed danger and ran lived to have children. You're descended from the paranoid ones, the cautious ones, the ones whose brains screamed warnings constantly. So, your brain is doing what it was built to do, scanning for danger, highlighting problems, remembering threats, making sure you notice what could go wrong so you can avoid it. But here's the problem. You're not running from predators anymore. The threats your brain evolved to detect don't exist in your daily life. Yet, your brain still operates like they do. It treats a critical email like a physical danger. It responds to social rejection like you're being cast out of the tribe to die alone. It panics about future possibilities like they're happening right now. Your mind is working against your happiness by design. This is the brutal truth. You're not broken. You're not uniquely pessimistic. You're human. And humans have brains wired for survival, not joy. One bad thing happens, and it colors your whole day. One person doesn't like you, and you forget about the 10 who do. One mistake, and suddenly you're questioning everything. It's not fair, but it's how you're built. Here's where the peace comes in. Once you understand this, you can stop fighting yourself. You can stop asking, why am I like this? You're like this because your brain is doing its job. An outdated job, but a job nonetheless. When negative thoughts appear, you don't have to believe them. When anxiety spikes, you don't have to trust it. When your mind catastrophizes, you can recognize it as your ancient alarm system misfiring. You're not your thoughts. You're the one noticing your thoughts. And when you notice your brain doing its negativity thing, you can say, oh, there it goes again, doing what it evolved to do, trying to protect me from dangers that aren't there. This creates distance, space. You stop being consumed by every negative thought and start observing them like weather passing through. Your brain says, everyone hates you after one awkward interaction. You can notice that thought without believing it. Your brain says you'll fail at everything because of one setback. You can acknowledge the thought without letting it run your life. The negative thoughts will keep coming. That's not something you can stop, but you can change your relationship with them. You can see them as noise, not truth. As an overprotective system, not accurate analysis. Your brain means well. It's trying to keep you safe. It just doesn't realize the danger is mostly gone. And knowing this lets you be gentler with yourself when your mind spirals. But here's what you can't do. You can't think your way out of what you're feeling. You can't logic away sadness. You can't rationalize anxiety into disappearing. You can't think your way out of grief or anger or loneliness. You can't analyze your feelings until they make sense and then file them away neatly. Feelings don't work like problems to solve. They're not math equations. They're not puzzles with solutions. They're experiences to feel. And trying to think them away is like trying to think away hunger or thirst. But we try anyway. We sit with sadness and ask ourselves why we're sad, as if understanding the cause will make it stop. We analyze our anxiety, breaking it down into logical pieces, hoping it will see reason and leave. We tell ourselves our feelings don't make sense, that we shouldn't feel this way, that there's no good reason for it, and none of it works. The feeling stays. Sometimes it gets stronger because now you're frustrated on top of the original emotion. Now you feel bad about feeling bad. This is the brutal truth. All that overthinking doesn't help. All that analysis keeps you stuck. You're spinning in your head while your body is trying to process something your mind can't fix. Feelings aren't the enemy. They're not problems. They're not signs that something is wrong with you. They're just information. Data from your body about your internal state. Sadness says something matters to you. Anger says a boundary was crossed. Anxiety says your system is on alert. Loneliness says you need connection. These feelings are messengers, and you keep shooting the messenger instead of receiving the message. Here's the peace that comes from understanding this. You can stop trying to fix your feelings. You can stop trying to make them go away. You can just let them move through you like weather. Feelings are temporary if you let them be. They rise, they peak, they pass, like waves. You don't have to do anything but feel them and wait. But when you resist, when you try to think them away, you dam up the flow. The feeling gets stuck because you won't let it move. It circles and circles because you keep trying to understand it instead of experiencing it. Imagine you're holding a hot coal. The answer isn't to analyze why it's hot or convince yourself it's not burning you. The answer is to let it go, to stop holding it. That's what feelings need. Release, not analysis, not fixing, just acknowledgement and space. You can sit with sadness and say, I'm sad right now. That's all. Not why am I sad or how do I stop being sad or what's wrong with me. Just, I'm sad. And then you let sad be sad. You let it exist without needing to change it. The feeling will move when it's ready, like clouds across the sky. You don't control clouds. You don't think them away. You just watch them pass. So next time a difficult feeling shows up, try this. Stop analyzing. Stop trying to solve it. Just feel it. Breathe with it. Let it be there without fighting it. Feelings are information, not emergencies. They're weather, not destinations. They're waves, not walls. And this brings us to something deeper. Because if you can't think your way out of discomfort, maybe discomfort itself isn't the problem you think it is. Everything you want is on the other side of discomfort. That conversation you've been avoiding, it's uncomfortable. That skill you want to learn, It's uncomfortable. That relationship you need to end or start, uncomfortable. That goal you keep putting off, also uncomfortable. Comfort keeps you exactly where you are. It's safe, familiar, easy, and it's a trap. Think about the last time you grew as a person, really grew, changed in a meaningful way. It probably didn't happen while you were comfortable. It happened during something hard, a difficult breakup, a challenging job, a painful loss, a scary decision. Growth lives in discomfort, always. There's no way around it. Your muscles don't get stronger by resting. They get stronger by tearing slightly and rebuilding. Your mind works the same way. Your character works the same way. Everything that gets better through stress, resistance, discomfort. But we've built entire lives around avoiding this. We stay in jobs we hate because changing is uncomfortable. We keep relationships that drain us because ending them is uncomfortable. We don't speak up because conflict is uncomfortable. We don't try new things because looking foolish is uncomfortable. And we wonder why we feel stuck, why we're not moving forward, why life feels small. Here's the brutal truth. Comfort is a trap. Staying safe keeps you small. Avoiding discomfort means avoiding growth. And if you're always comfortable, you're probably not growing at all. But here's the peaceful part. You don't have to be comfortable all the time. Discomfort isn't danger. It's just discomfort. Your body registers it as threat, but it's not. It's just your system adjusting to something new. The feeling you get before a difficult conversation, that's not a warning to run. That's just your body preparing for something important. The nervousness before trying something new, that's not a sign you shouldn't do it. That's excitement mixed with fear, which means you care about the outcome. Discomfort means you're at an edge, and edges are where interesting things happen. Edges are where you find out what you're capable of. Edges are where you expand. So the goal isn't to eliminate discomfort. The goal is to get better at being uncomfortable, to stop seeing it as something wrong and start seeing it as something necessary. You can sit in a difficult conversation and feel your heart race and stay anyway. You can try something new and feel awkward and keep going. You can face uncertainty and feel scared and move forward anyway. Peace doesn't mean always feeling good. Peace means being okay with not feeling good. It means sitting with discomfort without letting it control you. It means understanding that hard things make you better, not worse. The hard conversation strengthens your relationships. The new skill opens new possibilities. The scary decision shows you what you're made of. None of it feels good in the moment. All of it matters long term. So next time you feel that discomfort rising, that urge to retreat to safety, pause. Ask yourself, what's on the other side of this feeling? Ask yourself what you gain by staying comfortable versus what you gain by pushing through. And speaking of pushing through, the most uncomfortable truth might be this. The clock is ticking faster than you think. You have about 4,000 weeks if you're lucky. That's it. That's the average human lifespan. 75 years. 4,000 weeks. Maybe more, maybe less. But not infinite. Not even close. Every week that passes is gone forever. Every day you spend waiting for the right time is a day you don't get back. Every moment you waste on things that don't matter is a moment stolen from things that do. This is the brutal truth nobody wants to face. Your time is running out. Right now. This very second. The clock started the day you were born, and it's been counting down ever since. You tell yourself you have time. You'll do that thing later. You'll call that person eventually. You'll make that change when you're ready. But later becomes never. Eventually becomes too late. Ready never comes. People spend decades waiting to live, waiting for the right moment, the right amount of money, the right level of confidence, the right circumstances, and they die waiting, full of regrets about the chances they didn't take and the life they didn't live. This sounds dark, morbid, like dwelling on death is depressing. But here's where it gets peaceful. Knowing time is short makes everything matter more. It makes this moment precious. It makes today urgent. It cuts through all the nonsense about what you should do and gets straight to what you actually want. When you remember you're going to die, suddenly that grudge seems pointless. That fear seems manageable. That embarrassment seems trivial. You stop wasting energy on things that won't matter in the end. You become more honest, more brave, more present, because you realize you don't have time to be anything else. Think about people who face their mortality directly. Cancer survivors, near-death experiences, anyone who's come close to the edge. They often say the same thing, that it woke them up, that it made them stop sleepwalking through life, that it gave them clarity about what actually matters. You don't need to almost die to get that clarity. You just need to remember that you will die, eventually, certainly, and so will everyone you love. This isn't meant to scare you, it's meant to free you from caring what strangers think, free you from postponing joy, free you from playing it safe, free you from living a small life, because a small life feels secure. You have 4,000 weeks. Some of them are already gone. You don't know how many are left. So, what are you doing with the ones you have right now? Are you spending them on resentment, on worry, on pretending, on waiting for permission, on staying small because growth is uncomfortable? Or are you using them to love deeply, to try boldly, to speak honestly, to experience fully, to become who you're capable of becoming? The hourglass is already half empty, maybe more than half. You don't get to pause it. You don't get to ask for more time. You just get right now. This moment, this breath, this choice. So, what do you do with that knowledge? How do you live when you know time is precious and finite? You stop wasting it on things that don't matter. And one of the biggest wastes is worry. 85% of what you worry about never happens. Scientists tracked people's worries and then checked back later to see what actually occurred. 85% of the feared outcomes never materialized. They were imaginary disasters, phantom problems, mental movies that never played out in reality. And here's the other part. Of the 15% that did happen, 79% of people handled it better than they thought they would. They coped, they adapted, they survived. The thing they dreaded wasn't as devastating as their worry predicted. So, you're spending massive amounts of energy on futures that will never exist. You're rehearsing tragedies that won't happen. You're solving problems that aren't real. Your worry isn't preparation. It's not planning. It's not protecting you. It's just suffering in advance for things that probably won't occur. Think about what you worried about last year, last month, even last week. How many of those worries came true? How many were worth the energy you spent on them? Most of them dissolved. They never happened. Or they happened differently than you imagined. Or they happened and you handled them. And now you're worrying about new things, most of which also won't happen. This is the brutal truth. Your worrying is useless, not just unhelpful. Useless. It doesn't change outcomes. It doesn't prevent bad things. It just makes you miserable now about things that might make you miserable later, except they probably won't. But here's the piece in this. You're stronger than your worry tells you. You've already survived every bad thing that's happened to you so far. Every heartbreak, every failure, every loss, every difficulty. You made it through. You're still here. And if something bad happens in the future, you'll handle that too. Not perfectly, not without pain, but you'll handle it because you always do. Worry is your brain trying to protect you by imagining worst-case scenarios. It thinks if you prepare for every possibility, you'll be safer. But you can't prepare for things that haven't happened. You can't solve problems that don't exist yet. And even when problems do arrive, they rarely look like you imagined. Life throws curveballs. Unexpected things happen, and you deal with them in the moment, not through months of advance worrying. So, what if you stopped? What if you caught yourself worrying and said, "This probably won't happen. And even if it does, I'll handle it then." Not with toxic positivity, not pretending bad things never occur, but with honest assessment. Most of what you fear won't happen, and the things that do happen, you'll manage. You can't control the future by worrying about it. You can only steal peace from the present, and time is too short to waste on imaginary problems. Save your energy for actual challenges, real problems. Things happening now that need your attention. Don't spend it on maybe someday, possibly disasters that exist only in your head. Your track record for surviving hard things is 100% so far. Trust that. Trust yourself. Trust that you'll figure it out when you need to. And this brings us somewhere important. Because if you can't control the future through worry, and you can't prevent bad things from happening, what can you actually rely on? You don't know what tomorrow brings. You don't know if your plans will work out. You don't know if your relationships will last. You don't know if your job will still exist next year. You don't know if you'll be healthy. You don't know how things will unfold. You never did. You never will. Every sense of certainty you have is an illusion. You plan your week as if you're guaranteed to see it. You make long-term decisions as if the future is predictable. You assume tomorrow will be similar to today, but you don't actually know. Anything can change. Everything changes. The ground beneath you is always shifting. You just pretend it's solid, because feeling uncertain is uncomfortable. This is the brutal truth. Control is an illusion. Certainty is impossible. You're floating in uncertainty every single moment, and you always have been. People hate this, They need to know. They need guarantees. They need to feel secure. So they create the illusion of certainty. They make rigid plans. They convince themselves they can predict outcomes. They try to nail down every variable. And life laughs at their plans. It throws surprises. It changes the rules. It goes a completely different direction than expected. And they feel betrayed, like life broke a promise it never made. But here's where the peace comes in. You can stop trying to figure everything out. You can stop demanding to know how it will all work out. You can rest in not knowing. Because the truth is, not knowing is where you've always been. You just fought it. You struggled against it. You exhausted yourself, trying to create certainty in an uncertain world. What if you stopped fighting? What if you accepted that you don't know and you're okay anyway? Think about floating in water. If you relax and trust it, you float. If you panic and flail, you sink. The water hasn't changed. Your relationship to it has. Uncertainty is the same. You can fight it, trying to control everything, predicting everything, preparing for everything. Or you can float. You can trust that you'll handle whatever comes, that you don't need to know everything in advance. Plans change. Surprises happen. Life unfolds in ways you didn't expect. And you adapt. You always have. You always will. Some of the best things in your life probably came from uncertainty, from unplanned moments, from things not going the way you expected, from doors closing and other doors opening, from chaos creating new possibilities. Certainty is overrated anyway. It's boring, it's rigid. It leaves no room for magic, for growth, for the unexpected gift. Uncertainty is where life happens, where you discover what you're capable of, where you meet people you weren't looking for, where you end up in places you never planned to go. So you have a choice. Spend your energy trying to eliminate uncertainty, which is impossible. Or spend your energy learning to be comfortable with it. You can make plans without gripping them tightly. You can have preferences without needing them to happen. You can hope for outcomes without demanding them. Maybe the point isn't to know where you're going. Maybe the point is to trust that wherever you arrive, you'll handle it. And this acceptance leads somewhere unexpected. Because when you let go of needing to be certain, you also let go of needing to be special. You're not special. You're not uniquely talented, not uniquely broken, not uniquely destined for greatness. You're one of 8 billion people on a planet spinning through space. You're ordinary. This is hard to hear, because you've been told your whole life that you're special, that you're one of a kind, that you have a unique purpose waiting to be discovered, that you're meant for something big. But statistically speaking, you're average. Your struggles are common. Your dreams are shared by millions. Your pain isn't unique. Your gifts aren't extraordinary. You're just another human trying to figure it out. Most people won't remember your name 100 years from now. Your impact on history will be minimal. Your existence will be a tiny blip in the vastness of time. You'll live, you'll die, and the universe will continue exactly as it was. This is the brutal truth. You're not the main character of some grand story. You're an extra in everyone else's story, and they're extras in yours. You're replaceable, forgettable, ordinary. And here's the thing. That's liberating. Because if you're not special, you don't have to be. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to achieve greatness. You don't have to leave a legacy. You don't have to be remembered. You can just exist. Just live. Just be a regular person doing regular things. And that's enough. The pressure to be special is crushing. It makes you compare yourself to everyone. It makes you feel behind if you're not exceptional. It makes you feel like a failure if you're just normal. But normal is what most people are, and normal is fine. Normal is actually beautiful when you stop fighting it. You can have an ordinary job and be content. You can live a quiet life and find it meaningful. You can be unknown and still matter to the people who know you. Think about grass in a field. Each blade is unremarkable on its own, but together they create something beautiful. They don't compete to be the tallest blade. They don't stress about being noticed. They just grow where they're planted. That's you. One blade of grass in a field of billions. Not special, not exceptional, but part of something larger, part of the human experience, part of the living, breathing world. And there's peace in that, in being part of something instead of needing to stand out from it, in contributing without needing credit, in existing without needing to prove your existence matters. You're allowed to be ordinary. You're allowed to have a simple life. You're allowed to not chase greatness. You're allowed to just be here, living your small human life, finding joy in small human things. The stars don't compete to be the brightest. They just shine, each one ordinary in the vastness of space, each one part of something beautiful. You're like that, ordinary, unexceptional, and exactly enough. And here's what this means for your suffering. If you're not special, if you're just one of billions, then your pain isn't special either. Your struggles aren't unique, which means you're not alone in them. Everyone you meet is carrying something heavy. The person who cut you off in traffic is dealing with something. The cashier who seemed rude is fighting a battle you can't see. Your coworker who snapped at you is struggling with something you don't know about. Everyone is fighting something, always. Every single person, no exceptions. Some are dealing with grief, some with chronic pain, some with financial stress, some with relationship problems, some with mental illness, some with trauma, some with loneliness, some with regrets, some with fears about the future. And most of it is invisible. You can't see depression from the outside. You can't spot anxiety by looking at someone. You can't tell who's grieving or afraid or barely holding on. People hide their struggles. They put on normal faces. They go through their days pretending everything is fine. And you do the same. You show the world your functioning self while keeping your pain private. This is the brutal truth. Life is hard for everyone, not just you, everyone. The person who seems to have it all together is probably falling apart in private. The one who looks happy might be faking it. The one who seems confident might be terrified. You look at others and see their outsides while feeling your inside. So you think they're fine and you're broken. You think they've figured it out and you're lost. You think they're strong and you're weak. But you're comparing your messy reality to their carefully curated appearance. You're comparing your full truth to their partial truth. It's not fair. It's not accurate. Here's the piece in this. You're not alone. Your pain is not evidence that something is wrong with you. It's evidence that you're human. And being human means struggling sometimes. Often, actually. Your anxiety, millions have it. Your sadness, it's universal. Your fear, everyone feels it. Your sense of not being enough, that's the most common feeling there is. This doesn't minimize your pain. It doesn't mean your struggles don't matter. It means they're part of being alive, part of being conscious in a difficult world. And understanding this changes how you see people. The person who wronged you might be drowning in their own pain. The one who let you down might be barely keeping their own head above water. The one who disappointed you might be disappointing themselves even more. This creates compassion, not excusing bad behavior, not accepting mistreatment, but understanding that hurt people, that everyone is doing their best with what they have, that nobody wakes up trying to be difficult. And it creates compassion for yourself too. Because if everyone struggles, if everyone carries invisible weight, then your struggles don't make you defective. They make you human. You're not uniquely broken. You're ordinarily broken. The same way everyone is broken in their own ways. And there's strange comfort in that. In knowing you're not alone on the hard days. In knowing everyone has hard days. Think of it like icebergs. You see the tip above water, but 90% is below the surface, hidden. Everyone is an iceberg. You're seeing their 10% while feeling your 100%. So, be gentle with yourself, with others, because everyone is fighting battles you know nothing about, including you. And this shared struggle reveals something important about relationships, about expectations, about what you owe others and what they owe you. You're going to disappoint people, no matter what you choose, no matter how hard you try. Someone will be unhappy with your decisions. Someone will judge you. Someone will think you should have done it differently. You can't please everyone. It's mathematically impossible. What makes one person happy will make another person upset. What one person sees as right, another sees as wrong. What one person expects from you directly conflicts with what someone else expects. So you're already failing someone's expectations right now, already letting someone down, already being judged as not enough by somebody. This is the brutal truth. Disappointment is inevitable. Judgment is guaranteed. Misunderstanding is unavoidable. You will be criticized no matter what you do. You stay in the job, and people say you're playing it safe. You quit the job, and people say you're being reckless. You get married, and people question your choice. You stay single, and people wonder what's wrong with you. You have kids, and people judge your parenting. You don't have kids, and people say you're selfish. There's no winning, no choice that satisfies everyone, no version of you that gets universal approval. And trying to please everyone means pleasing no one, including yourself. You twist yourself into shapes that don't fit. You say yes when you mean no. You hide parts of yourself. You live by other people's rules. And you end up exhausted, resentful, and still disappointing people anyway. But here's the piece in this. Their disappointment isn't your responsibility. You're allowed to live your life. Make your choices. Follow your path. Even if it disappoints people. Even if they don't understand. Even if they judge you for it. Their expectations of you are their problem, not yours. Their vision for your life is not your vision. Their disappointment is their emotion to manage, not yours to prevent. You can be kind without being compliant. You can care about people without letting them control you. You can love someone and still disappoint them, because the alternative is betraying yourself, shrinking yourself, living half a life to make others comfortable, and that's too high a price. Think about the people you admire, the ones who live authentically, who make bold choices, who stand by their values. They disappoint people regularly. They get criticized, they get judged, and they keep going anyway. That's not cruelty. That's not selfishness. That's self-respect. That's knowing your life belongs to you. You're not here to meet everyone's expectations. You're not here to live by their rules. You're not here to be who they want you to be. You're here to be you. Messy, imperfect, making choices that make sense to you even when they don't make sense to others. Some people will understand. Some won't. Some will support you. Some will leave. And that's okay. That's life. That's what happens when you live honestly instead of performing. You can't control how people react to your choices. You can only control whether you make choices that align with who you are. So, disappoint people. Set boundaries. Say no. Choose yourself. Live your truth. And let others handle their feelings about it. And this brings us to the hardest relationship of all. The one that matters most. The one with yourself. You talk to yourself in ways you'd never accept from another person. Your inner voice is cruel, harsh, relentless. It replays your mistakes on repeat. It magnifies your flaws. It dismisses your accomplishments. It tells you you're not good enough, not smart enough, not worthy enough. You make one mistake, and your inner voice says you're a failure. You have one awkward moment, and it says you're embarrassing. You miss one deadline, and it says you're incompetent. You gain weight, and it says you're disgusting. If someone else spoke to you this way, you'd cut them out of your life. You'd call it abuse. You'd recognize it as toxic. But when it's your own voice, you think it's just being honest, just holding you accountable, just pushing you to be better. But it's not making you better. It's making you smaller, quieter, more afraid, more stuck. This is the brutal truth. You are your own worst enemy. You criticize yourself more harshly than anyone else does. You judge yourself more severely. You expect perfection from yourself while accepting humanity from others. And it's exhausting, living with a voice that never lets up, that never gives you credit, that never says you did well, that always finds something wrong. Here's the piece you need to hear. You can change that voice. You can speak to yourself like you'd speak to someone you love. Imagine a child makes a mistake. Do you berate them? Call them stupid? Tell them they'll never amount to anything? No. You comfort them. You tell them it's okay. You help them learn. You show them compassion. You deserve that same compassion. From yourself. Self-compassion isn't weakness. It's not letting yourself off the hook. It's not making excuses. It's treating yourself with the same kindness you'd show a friend. When you mess up, instead of, "I'm such an idiot," try, "That was hard, and I did my best." Instead of, "I'm a failure," try, "I'm learning." Instead of, "I'll never get this right. Try, I'm growing." The voice that motivates through shame doesn't work. It keeps you stuck in the same patterns. It makes you afraid to try. It crushes your spirit. The voice that motivates through care actually helps. It gives you room to fail and try again. It lets you be human. It builds you up instead of tearing you down. Think about someone you love who's struggling. You don't make them feel worse. You don't pile on criticism. You support them. You remind them of their worth. You help them see their progress. Do that for yourself. When you're struggling, be the friend you need. When you make a mistake, offer yourself grace. When you're tired, let yourself rest without guilt. You're doing better than you think. You're handling more than you realize. You're stronger than your inner critic claims. And maybe the person you need to forgive most is yourself. For not being perfect, for making mistakes, for being human, for not having it all figured out. Forgive yourself. Speak kindly to yourself. Treat yourself like someone you care about, because you're the one person you'll be with for your entire life. Make it a kind relationship. And this shift in how you treat yourself changes what you're actually looking for. Because maybe the goal was never what you thought it was. Happiness is exhausting to chase. It's always just out of reach, always conditional, always dependent on things going right. You'll be happy when you get the job, when you find the relationship, when you lose the weight, when you make the money, when you achieve the goal. But then you get those things and the happiness fades, and you're chasing the next thing, and the next, and the next, and you're tired because happiness keeps moving further away. This is the brutal truth. Happiness is fleeting, temporary, unreliable. It comes and goes like weather. And wanting to be happy all the time is like wanting it to be sunny all the time. Unrealistic and exhausting. But peace? Peace is different. Peace isn't dependent on circumstances. It's not something you chase. It's something you uncover. It's available right now, underneath everything else. Peace is being okay when things aren't perfect. It's accepting what is instead of demanding what should be. It's letting go of the fight, the resistance, the constant pushing against reality. You can be sad and still have peace. You can be uncertain and still have peace. You can be struggling and still have peace. Because peace isn't the absence of difficulty. It's the presence of acceptance. Think about the ocean floor. On the surface, waves crash, storms rage, everything is chaos. But deep below, it's calm, still, peaceful. The storms don't reach down there. You have that depth, that place in you where storms can rage on the surface, but peace exists underneath. You just have to stop chasing the surface and drop down. Happiness says everything must be good for me to feel good. Peace says I can feel okay even when things aren't good. Happiness demands life goes your way. Peace accepts life as it is. Happiness is fragile. Peace is steady. And here's what's strange. When you stop chasing happiness and settle into peace, happiness shows up more often. Because you're not gripping it so tightly. You're not making it mean so much. You can enjoy it when it comes and let it go when it leaves. You stop needing every moment to be good. You stop judging difficult emotions as problems. You stop fighting reality. And in that acceptance, you find relief. Peace doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean you stop wanting things or working toward goals. It means you stop making your okayness dependent on outcomes. You can want things and be at peace with not having them yet. You can work hard and be at peace with the process. You can have preferences and be at peace when life goes differently. This is the shift from needing life to be a certain way to being okay with however it is, from demanding happiness to resting in peace. And peace is always available in this breath, in this moment, in the simple fact that you're here, alive, aware. You don't have to earn peace. You don't have to achieve it. You don't have to be perfect to deserve it. It's already here. You just have to stop resisting long enough to feel it. So, stop chasing. Stop demanding. Stop fighting. Let yourself rest. Let yourself be. Let yourself have peace. And with all these brutal truths, with all this honesty about life and struggle and imperfection, where does that leave you? It leaves you here, right now, exactly as you are. You're enough. Not because you've accomplished something, not because you've fixed yourself, not because you've earned it, but because you exist. After all these brutal truths about memory, change, mortality, and imperfection, this is what remains. You are enough, right now, in this moment, with all your flaws and failures and fears. You've been looking for worth in the wrong places, in achievement, in approval, in being special or certain or perfect. But worth isn't something you earn. It's something you have simply by being here. You are a conscious being in an infinite universe, experiencing this moment. That alone is remarkable. That alone is enough. You don't need to be more successful, more loved, more together, more anything. You can want those things. You can work toward them. But your enoughness doesn't depend on them. Think about a tree. It doesn't try to be enough. It doesn't compare itself to other trees. It doesn't stress about growing faster or taller or more beautifully. It just grows. It just exists. And that's enough. You're like that tree. You don't need permission to exist. You don't need to justify your space. You don't need to prove you deserve to be here. You're already here. You're already living. You're already enough. All the harsh truths we've walked through tonight, they all point here, to this acceptance. This simple recognition that you're okay. You've always been okay. You'll always be okay. Your memory fails you. You're constantly changing. You're not special. You can't control most things. You'll disappoint people. You're harder on yourself than anyone else. And through it all, you're still enough, not despite these truths, because of them, because they strip away everything false and leave what's real. And what's real is this: you're a human being doing your best. And that's enough. So, rest now. Let these truths settle. Let them take the weight you've been carrying. The weight of needing to be perfect. The weight of needing to have it figured out. The weight of needing to be more than you are. You can put it down, all of it, and just be. If this journey brought you some peace tonight, consider joining us again. Give this video a like and subscribe so you can find your way back to these quiet explorations. And leave a comment. Tell me which truth hit you hardest tonight. Tell me where you're listening from and what time it is there. I love knowing you're out there, settling into rest alongside others who find comfort in honesty. There are more truths to discover, more peace to find, more honest conversations about being human. Thank you for being here, for listening, for letting these difficult truths become something peaceful. Sleep well, knowing you're exactly where you need to be.